Alright, so first set is Ogawa versus Samitto.
The history of Guilty Gear, and both of them absolute trademark of their game.
And a round start, air dash H.
For you guys who are not familiar with this, Chipp is kind of the extremely high-speed, non-stop mix kind of character. Zato is extremely interesting, and as a stand user, sounds like shadow and everything.
And
you can see that
already, right here, we're seeing like, you know, a big part of Chipp's mix-up already. And we're going to hit this. There's the jump H. Okay, we're good here. And then he's going to air dash again for the double overhead, right? And all that came from a throw. So that's going to be like pretty standard mix-up nowadays in the entire game from just about everyone in the game. But, you know, Chipp doesn't have certain things in the game, so this is a big part of his mix-up. So, because essentially he could have dropped and hit him low.
Okay, here we go.
And that second part of that mix-up happened right here. Right? So, just like how he did the air dash, or the jump H into air dash H again. Same thing again here. Hits him with the two-piece. Catches him standing, hits him low. It's just standard, you know, high-low mix-up. Not too difficult, not too hard to get into. But, you know, previously he conditioned him with the, you know, double overhead. Really, the jump H hits twice. So, essentially it's like, you know, double overhead, air dash, double overhead, you know. Or it could be, you know, double overhead, air dash empty, hit them low, etc., etc. So, good high-low mix-up here from Summit to, you know, set the pace here and keep Ogawa on his toes.
Pressure is ridiculous.
Okay, here we go right now. The overhead, I believe, Roman cancel right there. Wall break, okay. So Ogawa still with a bit of life left. Goes back to neutral here. That's what we were talking about with the wall break mechanic. Takes you back to neutral now.
Yep, and that's it.
Yep.
I see perfectly converted. That was a quick round.
Perfect, okay.
By Samitto.
That round was so fast.
Pretty fast in this game, man.
Absolutely. It snowballs very, very fast, man. Like,
so
one mistake, that could be
I can definitely say that this has been a rough matchup for Zato from a legacy standpoint. And to be honest, it's kind of like not. Jeez, what a mix up! It's not too much different here, but this was something that I was working on that I didn't use too much when I played in the beta. But if we look at the whole sequence here. All right, here's the throw. The alpha blade into wall run. Dropping slash. Right? Then he gets the conversion here. There's the K alpha blade into neutral drift. RC. So he got a blue RC because he delayed because he wasn't doing the actions. Boom, boom. And you know, you get the extra hit stun right there from using the blue RC. So it essentially makes the combo that much better. And allows for a little bit more because of the slowdown keeps them kind of higher up, or it just keeps them in hit stun a little bit longer. And that's also used in other instances for mix-ups and other, you know, offensive opportunities that, you know, people kind of put out there on Twitter. So really good to see use of that.
Was that a blue cancel in a combo?
Yeah, you saw that one. He did the forward drift.
That was blue. I'm learning. We're learning together. This is the tech that we want to see. Double schmicks. I got hit 3 times.
Wow, there you go. Mix.
And this just goes back to what I mentioned about Chipp and Chipp snowballing, you know? Like, this is a big part of his game now. Like, many people look down on this version of Chipp, you know, who have been playing Chipp and just don't really seem to understand it. This is kind of what he has to do now. Like, a lot of the offensive characters right now, they're really snowbally. And even without teleport, he still completely did a lot of work on his character. Now, I guess from an old school Chipp standpoint, that double alpha blade for a mix-up isn't very, I guess, cool looking, and we should be using wall stuff. But this is what he's got now, and this is what we got to work with, right? Essentially, he could have leaf thrown after the other one. You know, he could have did K alpha on the other one. There's just no telling, you know, where he's going to go. And Chipp's so fast that, like, you have to react to that. And because of the new tech roll system, you know, it really allows for Chipp to just take advantage of the new knockdown game. You know, it doesn't lead to FDC jump H, but one major thing that isn't really looked at, right, about Chipp really briefly in this game is that Chipp uses a lot of FDC in the older games. So you would do jump and flawless defense cancel his drill kick, or his dive kick, if you will, into an attack. And he can loop that over and over again for like the smallest of damage. You know, it's not super high on the, you know, the damage you get from it isn't very high, but there's one thing that's very important that gets lost there that Chipp actually gets to keep in this game, and that is the meter. Because when you use faultless defense cancel drill kicks or his dive kick into jump H or falling whatever button, you're constantly sapping your meter gain in order to keep up a pretty low damage mix-up opportunity. And in my honest opinion, you know, the fact that they've kind of they pretty much did away with it. And it's, in my honest opinion, it might actually be a bit better for Chipp because he actually gets to use his meter more. Because in Xrd, you're not always going to have 50 bar. You know, you'll have maybe 45, close to 50. You know, if you're not using FDC nearly as much to stop your movement, etc., etc., yeah, you'll still use it in this game to FD stop, you know, your movement so you don't get hit. But the fact that there's one other way for you to kind of hold on to your meter, you know, yeah, in a lot of ways it could be seen as it kind of sucks that you don't have that anymore. But like I said before, like the mix up behind it, yeah, it's nice, but you won't really kill your opponent, to be honest. And the combo afterwards, if it's not a certain amount of hits after the, you know, say you do sweep, you fall on them with H. I think it's like a 7 or 8 hit limiter. If you do sweep into alpha or Rekka and then the dragon kick or the lunge kick and you take him to the corner, it's only one hit into alpha blade. And if that is not on the right amount of hits, it doesn't matter what buttons you did before. As long as it does not above a certain hit count, you'll be able to get the proper knockdown. Yeah, so it's just another layer of Chipp that you don't have to think about anymore. You can do other things now, which is honestly perfectly fine with me because you get to have your meter a lot more. And as you can see, Summit took advantage of that in this game. And that's just game one. He made short work of Ogawa pretty quickly.
It's like we said, like it could be over in a flash. And do you see how much life he had left?
Looking
like we said, how Chipp has low character.
Like definitely a cool character,
all right,
but kind
game
of
two.
Struggling in the game for now.
Yeah, we've seen a few people try him out. Of course, using the shadow there, Eddie, kind of like a puppet character, you know. So here we go, corner control right now. Okay,
so we finally get to see Summit use Gamma Blade. And I will point out something right here really fast because I think people will probably look at this and be like, see, this is why Gamma sucks. And this is a typical situation right here. What's happening, what is about to transpire right here at this moment, right? This is a typical moment. Like, Zato is always going to try to use, this is a typical situation for him to use 2S, right? In this situation, because of the range in which that he's at, you know? Now, normally Gamma, like, in this situation, it's not necessarily a bad option, right? So we'll call this Gamma, because that's exactly what he's doing, right? So the Gamma is going to come out, but the problem here is that the clone gets hit. You know, that's pretty much where this kind of, this situation goes, you know, kind of bad. And it's not because, you know, Gamma itself is terrible. It's just the clone is getting hit. So this Gamma, if this was old Gamma, this was perfectly fine. You know what I mean? If this was old Gamma Blade, this would have crushed this button. Like, this is done. This is not a thing whatsoever. Right? This is not a thing. So, you know, it's just newer game because you can see it's not it's really not, Chipp is not getting hit. It is definitely, it's the clone. The clone's getting smashed on. It's this dude. It's his other alter entity that is getting smashed on. So yeah, this is the issue here with the situation. So this is why Gamma Blade has to be used more sparingly. And you have to use this move correctly. If you use this move incorrectly, like it's just no bueno for you, right? What's going on, Soldier? I see you, big dog.
Corner control right now. Okay. Interruption. Oh my god, look at the screen control right now.
That's the one Ogawa trying to get something, but the movement from Samitto is really good. Great burst to just get
and
some control back.
I know this is kind of silly,
Oh my god, look at the screen control
but
right now.
understand that this is a very common situation between these two characters. Like Chipp tries to jump, and this is the new version of Noboru, which is his anti-air eddy attack or the shadow attack. And the frog is really cool. Honestly, it's a really cool animation, but it's very different now. Instead of it being like an uppercut style attack, you know, it's this frog thing. And this is very typical. You know, Chipp tries to wake up and try to escape any kind of like pressure because, you know, at this range right here, there's nothing Zato can really do per se. You know, he could super, but there's no, you know, there's no tension down here to work with. So there's nothing to really fear here. Chipp's actually meter positive. Zato is not. But I mean, this is typical. This is a very, very typical scenario. This happens a lot, you know. But yeah, let's keep going.
Oh my god, look at the screen control right now.
That's the one Ogawa trying to get something, but the movement from Samitto is really good. Great burst to just get some control back, and Ogawa's game is just.
Now I will say this too, really quick, that if
Movement from Samitto.
Summit got bursted on and just try, all right, it's time to run right back in there. And it's, you know, a drill puddle. This is pretty common in this matchup. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a Chipp player, this is very common. Like, we just want to get right back in there and try to, you know, assert, you know, some dominance because you don't want this. You really don't want, you know, this character to be doing stuff because it is not a good time if Zato starts to do his thing.
Really good, great
So this is pretty normal
just
stuff here.
Control back, and Ogawa's game is just to try and keep him away, but the movement from Samitto has been amazing so far. Gets the dust into the first mix. Second one, that's blocked. The pressure is there, and you can see he keeps using the faultless defense to create some space there.
Yeah.
All of Ogawa's meter is used on faultless defense.
Even moving forward
Sure.
here,
He's definitely spending all of it. There we go, clean jump.
and we'll come back here, but there was something that
Good,
I wanted to
great
note,
burst
which
to just get
was
some control back, and Ogawa's game is just to try
right
and keep him
after
away,
this
but
point
the
here.
movement from Samitto has been amazing so far. Gets
So he does 5k in the alpha, 5k with alpha, right? And it crosses up. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the spacing that Alpha Blade gives Chipp. Like, he's already back in your face and you're recovering. You see that? Now, Ogawa has to guess, is this going to be a leaf throw? Is this going to be another Alpha Blade? Is it going to be K Alpha Blade? Am I going to get thrown? Like, there's two throws here. There's command grab and there's normal throw. You can get meatied with 6H, which is a beefy button if he gets hit by it. Godspeed does life bar because he has no burst. You know, he most likely die in this case, right? So these are the things that's being guessed here. Command grab, which is untechable. Regular grab, which you can tech. You know, any meaty button, specifically 6H, which will lead to a lot of damage, right? It could be sweep. It could be another Alpha Blade. It could be run up stop. It's like there's just too many. There's too many options that are coming from Samitto right now that he has to guess. And if he was to guess wrong in this situation, it'd be really bad because Zato has no real good reversal options. And right now, Samitto's, you know, he's meter positive right now. He is meter positive right now. You know, Ogawa has no meter and he's got no burst. You know, so he has to do the right thing here. You know, like in this situation, if I recall it, a counter hit 6H into wall combo will pretty much kill him because Samitto has meter for super and he can just Bankai super and that's GG. You know, that round's over with. So I just want to let y'all know that these are the types of things that you have to deal with. Even though like that Alpha Blade, like it crossed up and doesn't do, the thing about it is the cross up doesn't do that much damage, but it's about this character offsetting you. Like he's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable with your blocks. You know, he's meant to snowball you. Like that is Strive Chipp now. He's meant to snowball. So let's keep going.
To the first mix. Second one, that's blocked. The pressure is there, and you can see he keeps using the faultless defense to create some space there.
Yeah.
All of Ogawa's meter is used on faultless defense.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely spending all of it. There we go. Gets the clean jump in, full combo now. Not enough.
Okay,
Good throw break.
Oh my goodness.
See?
That's going to be it right
And
there.
Of course.
Yeah.
One.
You're done.
What's Zato's safest defense option here? Honestly, block.
So he was actually in the wall splat position. He used that move there that got a whole bunch of hits.
Yeah, this character for the longest time has always been designed to make you not feel comfortable. I forgot he has 6k also overhead.
To go for the super if you get that wall break and get absolutely a massive chunk of damage there, but the pressure is absolutely endless. Finally,
like that is the whole purpose of this character, is to make sure that you don't feel easy. Like you're supposed to feel uneasy.
He's struggling with trying to bring him the corner. Defensive yellow. RC straight to the burst, and Ogawa feels his meter right now. The preemptive one.
Now we got Ogawa who's on the move. Right? Boom.
Okay, he used the burst. Okay. Yeah, he had.
So
it was looking very, very bad right there. And of course, if you're Chipp, you got that low life. You don't want to mess around. If you've got that burst, you might want to spend it.
Another thing to look at. This game also has a lot of throw protection.
It was
like,
very, very...
They really know that Guilty Gear throws have been pretty nutso over the years. And of course, if you're Chipp, you got that... And this situation here is a typical situation for old Chipp to use his drill kick to try to set up a mix-up. This is where like the faultless defense cancel stuff would come into play. I think it's still kind of sort of there with this move because they actually buffed this move in this this build. His jump down kick or his dive kick in this game is actually a lot better in this build in particular, and hopefully it stays the same. They could add a little bit more hits on if they like, because the good thing about the move is the move does have forward momentum, but it stops. Like it kind of halts Chipp for a second and then it kind of moves him forward. So it really is good for his pressure and whatnot. And it's another way to keep people offset. I guess going back to Zato's defensive options, like he does have, honestly, his defense is mostly 5p, 2p to try to get people off of him. In this game, guard cancel, old games, a lot of the same guard cancels, backdash. You know, you can find spaces where you can jump, but you have to be on point with all these defensive options, because if you're wrong, these lead to combo opportunities for Chipp. And especially in this game where the juggle system kind of like off stray hits, and once the game comes out, off stray hits, you know, some of these stray hits will be converted into bigger things in no time. You know, it's a beta. No one's got all their stuff together. So, and yeah, at worst it's trading. True. Like, it's never a bad idea to try to challenge in fighting games. Even if your character doesn't have like the best reversal options, you still have to know when to trade. You still have to know when to poke out. Like, you can call it mashing, whatever makes people sleep at night. A barre, mashing, being a scrub, pressing this button, blah. No, it's like you have to challenge in some cases to remind your opponent, you're not going to run over me. Because you can exemplify good defense, but a character like Chipp will eventually open you up. And this character is really good at pressure, to the point to where, like, you know, if your risk gauge is built up enough, like, you're not going to want to get hit by that man. So you have to be really smart about your defense. You know, it has to be well played. It's never, and trust me, it's never easy. It's never easy against Chipp. Trust. As a Chipp player, trust me. I know.
You don't want to mess around.
And yeah, there's a throw protection.
Right, good one, getting at least something, but straight to the reversal. That was not.
Oh my goodness, that was clean.
And then here we have quick RC 6K. It's, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh my goodness, that was clean.
6K quick RC, jump to falling dust into 2S. Like, things just happen so quickly against this character. Like, bruh, could you guys even guess that Samitto was gonna run up throw at the start of this round? Like, the character is just so fast. Like, look at this round start backdash with the 5K, and this is a legacy Chipp thing too, right? Because Chipp's standing kick at the start of the game, which is pretty much the same in this version, it beats Zato's 2S. So if he was to do 2S, that 5K would have hit, and then he probably would have been able to jump cancel or do a special move or whatever he wanted to do in that case. But here he summons, you know, Ogawa summons Eddie, and it's like, come here. And that's good awareness, because the H summon for Zato is an armor, like that's an armor thing, you know? And it makes sense to throw him, because why try to do a move that's going to get armored with Zato standing right in front of it, you know? You're going to hit Eddie, and that's not what you want. So it made perfect sense to run up and throw. And it also does a major thing here, and that is it depletes the Eddie gauge. This is important. You know? It depletes Eddie gauge.
How you doing?
This is what you want.
Never forget about that.
Okay.
Cause that's all we got.
Good movement in the matchup is a must. No, I couldn't guess Chipp is low tier after all. Yeah, Chipp is low tier. Chipp's the worst character in the game. But you know the narrative. Chipp is bad. It's just Samitto. When even Samitto said the character was good. Imagine. Anyway, I won't get into that too much. I did say this for quite some time now. But depleting the Eddie gauge is really good. And that's within the earlier seconds of the round. Really, really good here. Very important to know. Every character can do this to him if he sets that up and doesn't cover his bases properly. You know, this could turn into something really bad. And that's the thing for Zato players too. You know, if you're watching this and you want to know a little bit more, you have to use your shadows correctly. If you use Eddie incorrectly, it is always going to be a bad time. Of course, that will come, you know, with time and optimization as the game comes out if you decide to play this character. But know that it's very important against a character like Chipp because he's just so fast. And if you make one wrong move, he's just going to be all up in your shit. Like that, this is just... And that goes for any character because, you know, Zato controls neutral very well. It's just been a historical thing for the character to control neutral very well. We'll see how far along that comes along in this game. I don't think it's too far off from the older games because a lot of the characters still feel like them old, you know, their old selves. It's just what do you get off certain situations is kind of the new thing. So, but moving forward, yeah, this is a good throw. This is smart.
Going because so far is entirely in Chipp's favor and immediately opens up straight to a burst. That's a yellow burst, so he gets the meter.
And Ogawa opts to burst here, in my honest opinion, for one major reason. And it is because he needs the meter to deal with Samitto's nonsense. And Summit, unfortunately, didn't do a proper meaty. So it opted into, you know, the game gave him a goal burst instead for Ogawa. But also, remember what I said before, Eddie gauge. Two major things happen here. He gets a full tension bar, and he gets Eddie gauge back. This is good. This is good. Okay? These things are good. This is what you... This is an okay option. And I should have mentioned burst earlier, but yeah, opting to try to get a gold burst in this matchup is pretty important. Even in the older games. Like, if you get a gold burst, that means you're guaranteed to get some kind of unblockable at some point if you play your cards right. Like, you can definitely play into that situation. So, getting the gauge back, you know, right here, and then getting the meter, very, very important. Smart stuff. Really, really good gold burst. And good recognition that Summit didn't have a proper meaty. And again, this is a beta. You can't expect everyone to have their meaties on point for sure, especially from throw. Even I've had some difficulties in trying to figure out what to do from throw. So
immediately opens up straight to a burst. That's a yellow burst, so he gets the meter.
Immediately, yeah, that burst, that gold burst will give you full bar.
Good frame trap.
Look at this, Ogawa trying to set up, just trying to stop that approach, that deadly approach from Samitto.
Success for now, but he does so little damage from these small hits.
Sure.
It's really hard.
He's just trying to prevent the onslaught, man. Chipp is just an absolute monster. Bro. Gets him. Okay.
One.
Bro. Man. Chipp is just an absolute monster. Bro. Gets him.
I want to point out that this damage was racked up for one major reason here on this command grab.
He's just trying to prevent the onslaught.
So there's something that's not even being looked at, and it is this right here. If we look at the gauge, it's this right here. Just the smallest smidget of risk build. Smallest smidget. Right there. Right? Smallest smidget. That made that command grab do that much more damage. You know? So like, get here again. Whoops. Do this. Right, and look at how much damage we get just from that extra. Like, this command grab's already like 100 damage. You know? And then you add just the smallest of risk build, and then it turns that command grab into something even more substantial. You know, when you have risk build, it doesn't matter the hit, you know, it's crank up the damage maybe just by a few points, and that those few points could be the difference in you winning a round. Or even winning the match. So keep that in mind. Risk build is very important, and it's something that happens a lot in Guilty Gear. You know, as you're doing your pressure and you're doing your offense, risk build happens at all points in the game. As long as you're defending without faultless defense. If you're not using FD to push someone out, which costs you tension, you're gonna have risk. You're gonna have to deal with risk build, and that goes with Zato as well. You know, he's gonna be able to do big damage. It's the same. It's universal. not just a chip only thing.
Oh, the dust is blocked. Okay.
Ooh.
So
That was
but you
good.
don't get much of this. What do you get? That's pretty much nothing. Oh, the
Let's
dust
look at
is
this.
blocked. Okay.
Ooh. Monster gets him. Okay.
Bruv. Oh, the dust is blocked. Okay.
He did so Ogawa did 5P into 236S to get the frog to come out like right away. I think he tried it looks like he pre-buffered it on the assumption that Summit was gonna run into it. So there's the block and there's the 5P and then boom. So he pretty much 2-in-1'd it. So it's 5P and then right into it. He thought that he was gonna run into it, which was gonna stop him, which was smart. It's another good way to like stop Chipp from jumping and just other characters in general for jumping on Zato. This is pretty normal. It's smart to do it against a character like Chipp because he's fast. Like Chipp and Millia, they're really fast characters and they can just run in like that. So it makes perfect sense to kind of challenge with the 5P. So remember, like I said, challenging with 5P, right? And then getting the input buffer so that you can do your thing. So bringing it back here again, boom. There's the block. There's the 5P. 5P. Buffer. 2, 3, 6, S. So that's like the cancel right there. So if he was to run into this, that's what was going to happen. So if we come back to it, and there it is. It just so happens that he did it to where it's not even really like a whiff cancel. It's just the 5P recovers so quickly that this was good. Oh yeah, I don't think Ogawa's adjusted to Strive yet either. He's still doing a lot of old things, which is fine. But, you know, I'm sure that he'll get there in due time. He just has to play.
Okay.
Ooh.
Solid one, but you don't get much of this. What do you get? That's pretty much nothing in Guilty Gear Strive terms as well.
Yep.
And let's see if Ogawa can get in. Lots of jump-ins there, and he's gonna get the kick into dust, straight to the mix, straight to the
Okay, yellow RC, here we go.
Defensive. We see that a lot in this one, and the
And yeah,
into dust,
so
straight to the mix,
it happens
straight to
again
the...
here. But instead he does 2K into 236S to discourage a jump. And this is why the frog hits at that arc.
Yellow?
See, stops him from jumping. Now he can start playing the game again.
We see that a lot in this one, and the opening is never straight to the box.
I think we might see the yellow one a lot from, that's the defensive Roman cancel, from Zato especially, because he's not a character that wants to be under pressure, you know? He excels at that screen control.
Alright, oh, the combo is not converted. Can I get something of this one? The anti-air is
Yeah,
not converted.
definitely Summit has been in the lab.
Oh, Chipp could be a thing right here.
One touch for Ogawa to finally get around in this showcase, but the pressure is on.
Absolutely.
Okay. And there it is, the challenge with 2P. Get off me.
Ogawa.
Makes sense.
Just one up on the board here, 1 round.
Yeah, 2P is going to be what takes it and finally gets the one. Ogawa still in quest of getting some control there, escaping, getting conversion at least.
That was sick.
Yeah.
Got underneath right there, the dash under.
Now, this is very common
Yeah.
to try to block and then jump. This is just old school habits right here. Like, this is pretty normal. Fortunately, unfortunately. This is like a legacy habit. And Summit not being adjusted to the new drills. Because he kept taking it. Like, the first time was a counter hit. And he got counter hit from 5K. Right? This is the startup of his 5K, or his standing kick, if you will. Had this been a little bit further out, he wouldn't have got counter hit like this. He's like, he's getting tickled. But so there's a counter hit into drill, and then good damage. There it is again. But yeah, someone just try to jump. Legacy habit would be to instant block the 2S and then jump out from the drill pretty freely. That's the freest thing like ever with Chipp versus Zato. Like, get away from that pretty easily. But not anymore. Not so much a thing because of the change to instant blocking. So I think backdash would have been a better option here.
Okay, here we go. Just trying to escape here. Oh, there we go.
Again.
Gets him. Pressure in the corner. You have to defend.
I respect the patience.
Now, unfortunately, Ogawa doesn't know how to punish
Solid getting
the
in,
bonsai
and
kick
I respect the
because
Pressure in the corner. You have to defend.
this move is really negative in this game. I believe counter hit state is even a thing for Chipp here. No, just regular punish. He did 5P. That's not good enough.
I respect the patience on Ogawa's side. That defense was solid getting in and could not get anything. Straight the dust, another mix that is going to be bursted.
Yeah, the burst. Okay, he's in trouble right now. Oh, we're gonna get the wall splat. Okay, we'll break back to the neutral.
Now I'll come back to the situation right here.
That defense was solid getting in and could not get anything straight the dust.
That is another thing that I think isn't really being looked at. And even I need to test myself is using K Alpha Blade to get around burst. This was freaking smart. This was smart. This was very, very, very smart. You know? Using K Alpha Blade as a means to get around gold bursting and just defensive burst as a whole. And because Ogawa got away with the gold burst previously, he figured he might be able to get it here. Makes sense. It's a good thing K Alpha Blade just goes through it. So this is a situation that I think could turn into a very favorable spot for Chipp. Not so much in combos, but for just baiting people out, such as this. So, interesting stuff here.
Just another mix that is going to be bursted.
Yeah, the burst. Okay, he's in trouble right now. Oh, we're gonna get the wall splat. Okay, we'll break back to the neutral right now, and that positive buff.
Should be a one-touch situation there for...
Oh, he just did it!
There we go!
Oh my goodness!
Sometimes... Let it rip, fam. You got
yeah, sometimes you gotta do it, man. Sometimes you gotta do it. I don't blame Ogawa for using that super after that situation.
And it's really like how this matchup works, right?
It goes back to what I said before. Sometimes you gotta let your opponent know.
Momentum does not want to get away at all. Ogawa just flying around.
Just trying to keep away. He's doing best here.
Again, this is like a normal thing, in this matchup. Using Chipp's double and triple jump into K Alpha Blade as a means of like escaping this situation. Smart. This is the equivalent to Chipp in Xrd climbing on the wall using kunais and then like using up wall jump and using jumping slash. Instead, it's just one special move off your triple jump. He could have used P Alpha Blade, would have been the same result. He just would have been in the air a little bit longer. But you know, it's best to get to the ground as fast as you can and not stay up there. Essentially, they can punish Chipp. You know, Chipp is definitely punishable in this animation right here, right? Like this here is definitely, you know, all that right there is punishable. Like this is 100% punishable. But you have to have the proper character to punish it and be prepared for where he's landing. Obviously, that's a skill in itself, but know that that is a good way to try to, you know, punish Chipp. In the Axel matchup, that's pretty easy. He just hits 2H into a snail, and then yeah, that shit's out the door. So, other characters have other ways too. It's just, how do you catch up to him? It's the real question. You know? What is Chipp's most damaging ender on the wall splat? Either Bankai Super or 6H. Zanzei Roga shouldn't be used to try to break wall. I would say Air Zanzei Roga is probably like good. It's a good combo ender with slightly better damage than Bankai, but I think you're better off breaking the wall. I feel like just break the wall. Either 6H or Bankai, either or. 6H probably does absolutely the most damage. The thing is, you want to try to avoid SMP. So, like, if you use a 6H early on in the combo, you can't use too many of them later. You want to try to use it late in the combo. If that's your starter, then you want to try to find another move to kind of wall break. But more often than not, me in particular, I always go for 6H regardless, even with SMP. If you don't know what SMP is, the same move pro rate, which is SMP. If you use a move multiple times in a combo, whether it's a normal or special move, I think it's mostly for special moves, if I recall right. But I feel like this game has it on normals too. But if you use a move more than once, you know, or twice in a combo, it's gonna severely scale. So, yeah. Things to know. All right, let's keep it going.
And look at this. Now Samitto is trying to summon that movement as well. Oh, chases him down. Okay, here we go. Chipp on the offense right now. Go the grab.
They've been hitting a lot and straight to the burst. Ogawa has to use that to get away. Watch out, there's C drift to get something from Samitto. More pressure in the corners.
I don't know how else to explain this. Samitto just put his foot in Ogawa's ass. But either way, you know, good burst right here for Ogawa trying to get something off him. Like, all right, bro, look, that's enough, man. You need to give me some breathing room, big dog. I'm trying to play the game.
A lot and straight to the burst. Ogawa has to use that.
And good recognition on Summit to use a button and then, you know, Eddie has the armor move, right? That absorbs moves. So it's good on him for using the RC and then escaping the situation.
Watch out there, see Drift to get something
to continue his pressure.
Samitto, more pressure in the corner, still blocking.
Oh, look at this. Just having to defend here. Oh, he challenges the burst though.
Yeah, but he gets nothing of 2P.
Like, there it is.
Like PvP, yeah, that's about all. Like, that's one of the things, shortcomings of Zato there. And Samitto definitely exploits it a lot. He knows that, like, from lights, he's not going to get much.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on, Big Set? I see you, dog.
It doesn't really matter too much. Okay, there we go. Gamma Blade.
Still blocking, still in the corner right now, but the movement is absolutely smooth. Trying to get one. No!
Double Alpha Blade.
Your chat, press one.
I mean, he's got to guess, man.
I would be like, okay,
and the thing is, if Chipp has meter for Alpha Blade cross up, like, it's gonna hurt. It's going to hurt.
Look at this, just in a defensive position again off the bat. There we go. He's got no more bar for that faultless defense.
And that's more pressure right now in the corner. That's faultless. All the bar is used on faultless defense to try and create something. Not happening conversion there.
And this right here is beautiful too. I really like that Summit did this. This was mad smart. So he ends up getting his counter hit here. Right? There's the RC into backdash into far slash. So smart because that was a good way to bait the burst. Good on Ogawa for bursting later. But an option that could have been done here, right? On the backdash, he could have hit 5K into jump cancel. And that would have been perfect. Because 5K is jump cancelable. And he'd have been able to bait the burst anyway it goes again. So it gives him 2 opportunities to bait the burst. Now granted, it does suck to lose your pressure here. But I would rather take the safer option as a Chipp player. Right? And 5K, because 5K goes into 6H even on that situation. Anyway, so better to take the safe route, do like the light button, jump away, you know, jump instant block, whatever, on anticipation. Because either way it goes, it's still going to be a favorable position for you because, you know, you jumped. And if they opted to not burst, that's okay for you because guess what? You still have the ability to alpha blade to the wall, alpha down. You have options, you know. That's a pretty decent options here that you could work with. So it's not necessarily too bad. It's not a very, very awful situation here, but I don't blame Ogawa on this burst. It makes sense. You might as well, dude.
Conversion there by Samitto, and of course the burst was there. One chance for Ogawa to get away, but Samitto gets opened up with a counter hit, a bit more pressure on Ogawa's side, gets another one. But again, these are most
Summit. He's definitely trying to force his way in there.
Exactly, even though he's got low life. Okay.
How much can you get from
this? My goodness, is he dead actually?
Oh, just barely missed it.
If got the wall break, that would have been dead.
Yeah, if you'd have got wall break here, that would have been the game. But gravity kind of kicked in.
Oh, he did it! Wait, is he dead? I think he's dead.
Yeah. There we go.
Chomp.
Really good there from Ogawa.
What you want to go for. Great comeback there.
Really good defensive option.
To his best. Let's see if Ogawa can even the setup. We could go to a 2-all. The adaptamentation is in full force on Ogawa's side, but Samitto gets the burst.
Yeah, that was looking dodgy right there. Definitely wanted to get out of that situation. Grab.
Here we go, throws.
Okay. We have more pressure. The defense is solid. Ogawa really doesn't mind blocking in the corner.
And Summit's using jumping kick when he's in the corner to ensure that the escape route for Ogawa is very difficult.
There we go with the RC follow-up. Look at this combo right now. Samitto.
He doesn't have super, so has to just like finish simply, but one touch for Samitto right now. Ogawa trying to keep the pressure in and goes for the counter, trying to fake the
There we go.
Dead. Goodbye.
Jeez.
Jaws.
That is clean. Ogawa game, and we are moving now.
Alright, that's really good on Ogawa's behalf. Really good conversion.
Absolutely. First early from both players actually. Spent it within the first, what, 5 seconds almost?
Yeah.
Here we go. Look at these conversions, unable to get the full follow-up. Oh my goodness, the stomp right there into the combo.
6-8.
Get the wall break. Look at this.
Save the meter.
From both players. Well, he just did it. I think he baited it out. He's been hit with that so many times. Yeah.
He doesn't mind, it's just a waste of bar. At the end of the day, all could not convert anything from this one. Ogawa trying to create some space there, and the opening delay is there. Big damage. Rocha can get the corner. Yes, pressure.
There we go.
That
you
was
can't
fast RC.
You can't see that, dude.
Yes, pressure.
You actually have to guess in this situation. You actually have to guess off a 6K RC fast. You have to guess.
Straight into it. That was smart as hell, man. Samitto is out there.
Yeah, he's looking clean for sure.
So we'll also mention that for you guys who are not familiar, but this cancel system, you can kind of cancel a cancel to make the animation much faster and kind of surprise your opponent, and that's what Samitto just did. Cancel into a short cancel animation straight to the overhead.
Summit is just
open Ogawa up, and the
he
pressure
is
is
just
relentless.
moving, dude. He is not trying to let Ogawa breathe, man.
PPP. Okay. Just trying to defend right now. So scary, it looks like, against Chipp.
Yeah, I feel like he's spending his entire game in the corner. And the conversions
Look at
there.
this! The wall's flat! Yo, he's dead. Is he dead? No, close,
Jeez, dude.
One touch though.
And here's exactly what I mean, right?
Against Chipp.
About using Chipp's jumping kick. And he got a whole conversion off of that. Right? Like, look at the scenario, right? So let's put some things into play here, right? So this has right now Ogawa's gonna deal with the extra landing recovery from blocking air normals, right? So this pressure right here is guaranteed. Like, it's just done. Like, this situation, just to be honest with you friends, this situation's sealed. This is it. This situation's 100% sealed. And I showed you guys this before in previous videos, that using an aerial normal, we all know that it has the extra landing recovery, right? So, like, it doesn't matter if Samitto was to air dash or anything of that nature. This situation is sealed. This is done. Like, Ogawa would have had to instant block that normal to kind of change that situation. Or IFD that situation. You know what I'm saying? So, this is locked in. Done. So, Samitto gets the pressure here. He gets the close slash. 6K. Ogawa tries to jump up because he doesn't want to deal with the pressure. And this is where people say things like, chicken blocking is too good in this game, blah, blah, blah. But here, he just got caught by a jump normal. He could have just blocked, right? But guess what? He'd have been right back in the same situation again, because Summit has access to his air dash at that stage. And you have the extra landing recovery. So you go right back to square one. There are ways to punish chicken blocking. It's just not as conventional. Not to mention, you still have air throw. And I mentioned this before. You have air throw. You have air to air into air dash. Air to air into landing button or falling or descending button, because it's guaranteed blocks done. You know what I mean? And at that stage, it's your pressure. It is totally your pressure. You have all the things in the world you can do at that stage, right? And then look at that. He gets a whole conversion. And that's good, recognition on Summit for taking advantage of that jump K. And I've been saying this, man, like Chipp's, even though I have to use this even more my damn self, like Chipp's jumping kick is so good. And I'm sure what Summit did most likely was jumping kick, and he buffered the dash button into H, because that's going to get him a combo. So this is a perfect opportunity for him to do that. And I've been mentioning this before. Like I said, it's this scenario is going to come up a lot in Strive, and you have to get used to this scenario. You're just going to have to, because the fact that you get extended block stun, that means people won't be able to challenge your pressure like that for free anymore. Like, there's a lot of give and take when it comes to the additional added landing recovery. When you get the additional landing recovery, and I showed before, you do jump button into descending, falling normal, it is an unchallengeable situation because of the additional, recovery frames from the jump. So you don't even have to worry about an uppercut at that stage. It's just, it is your turn. It is still your turn. So this is another way to punish jumping, essentially. And again, Samitto, he gets the conversion. I swear to you, this is such good combo recognition here, and good recognition on the juggle system.
No, close.
One touch though. Dominant from
wow.
And dash button slash.
Room for any button farm. I am taking this round.
No.
Samitto one game away from winning that first fight card there. Of course, remember we have 6 entire fight cards today, and there we go. The opening straight to the burst, of course. Want some space. Ogawa, it's time to try and get some control right now. You don't want to give too much momentum to your opponent.
There's a chance he might have tried to IFD.
Chasing him down. Trying to use the air movement options, but gets chased. Here we go. Corner position. Oh my goodness.
And again, the yellow cancel.
Roman cancel, yeah. Chasing him down.
So, I just want to point out real fast. Summit got meter so fast.
We have 6 entire fight card today, and there we go. The opening straight to the burst, of course. Want some space. Ogawa, it's time to try and get some control right now. You don't want to give too much momentum to your opponent.
Yeah, ready. Chasing him down. Trying to use the air movement options, but gets chased. Here we go.
Like, bruh, my man got so much bar so fast that he got a yellow RC for defense.
Roman cancel, yeah.
That's been a very interesting one.
Going back to the mix-up here. Alright, so here's the mix-up. Close slash Alpha Blade. Alright, cool. Now we're here. Right? Now he gets to keep up. 5k. Leaf throw. It could have been Alpha Blade again. And he had to guess that. You know? He had to guess that.
That's been a very interesting one, you know, to get ready for. Both of them have been using it quite a lot. And Ogawa
good block on Ogawa. That's the first Alpha Blade that he blocked, and it was instant blocks for that matter. Alright, here we go. Pressure time.
Kind of slow start, but he can do it for sure.
Yeah,
nearly dead here.
One throw, one touch.
You just don't know.
Match points for
you just don't know.
Specialist there, really doing well against Ogawa, and that round immediately starts in his favor.
Like you just don't. Oh wow, good throw break. That was a really good throw break there from Ogawa.
He's probably going to spend it once it is ready. Oh, here we go.
And again,
yeah, immediately spent it.
That's
like,
sick, man. I'm getting
like
all day,
you
baby.
can't see that, dude. I mean, you can, but like, even if you block the 6K, the falling JD is so fast that like you have to stand up. Like that's a legit mix-up situation.
Okay, there we go. The burst just to push it back. Gold
Yo, Ogawa is fighting for his life. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, go ahead, spin. Yeah, spin. Go on ahead and spin. Hey.
There we go.
Okay.
Get the hard knockdown after the wall break, so they are on the defensive from the.
Yeah, so there you have it. Like, so let's go back into what went right here, right? So here's the gold burst from Samitto, right? Let's take a look about what went right here. All right. 5P to discourage. Samitto's like, all right, we're gonna air dash back in. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna Strider hear you that. And here's where it went all downhill. You're probably wondering how I got here. I got punished by something, and I kind of died. And then this was a turning point. You know, Summit made one big mistake, and that big mistake turned into. It turned into shock, and then into hard knockdown. My man looking like a Mortal Kombat character slipping on Sub-Zero low ice. Whoa. And yeah, we get into this scenario here. Go ahead and watch in 0.5 speed, and gets the hard knockdown, and right into command grab. You know, at that stage, that could have been anything against Summit also. Interestingly enough, Summit has a full stick of butter. Down here, he has a full stick of butter. My man had a gold burst. He died with his meter. This is bad. This is no. No. This is a no. This is not what we want. Okay, that's no. Okay. Is Blue RC on Wake Up a viable option here? No, not really. You can backdash into Blue RC, yes, but just Wake Up Blue RC? No, because it still has startup. Backdash Blue RC is good, correct. That's a decent option here. In fact, that's a universally decent option for like everybody. Like universally, everyone can take advantage of that. It's not just a Chipp thing or a Zato thing. It's every character. So it wouldn't be a bad idea in this scenario because you don't want to get caught up, you know. Yeah, backdash drift. That's this game's backdash YRC, correct. So I guess coming back to it full circle, you know, as we're closing up this set here, as you can see, you know, I'll save it for after this. Let's just continue, shall we? Let's just go ahead and continue. And I just wanted to point out those things to you guys so you can see what's actually happening in the matchup, like what things weren't used, what things weren't, etc., etc.
Oh, he got him with a command grab.
Oh, there we go.
That was so clean. Using that super, not only do you get all that extra damage, you get the hard knockdown after the wall break. So they are on the defensive from the neutral start there. Good stuff.
That is too clean. All right, Ogawa saving one match point.
And yeah, see, again, this is old Chipp muscle memory right here. The fact that Ogawa didn't use drill, that right there would have avoided the situation. I think probably what he should have went for, in my opinion, is probably Frog. I think in this matchup, Ogawa should have been using Frog a lot more in these situations, because I'm going to tell you from experience as a long-time Chipp player, if you leave a gap like that open in this matchup, they're going to air dash on you. There's no reason for Chipp players to not air dash on you. So you have to cover the airspace with Frog. You know, just instead of summoning and going to like P or anything like that, like P summon or K summon for that matter, I think maybe the armor summon could probably give him something there in this scenario. But like, you have to be ready for that. And I understand that on one front, that's hard to be able to react to. But the idea is to not, in this matchup, even from a legacy standpoint, it's not always about reacting to Chipp. You have to preemptively be ready to put things in his way. If you're not preemptively ready, this character can and will snowball you hard body. You have to be ready for that type of stuff, okay? Like, I know that a lot of this match so far has pretty much been, it's been fairly one-sided, and like Ogawa has only really been able to capitalize on maybe like some of the smallest and minute situations. And it goes to be a testament of something I keep saying about Chipp. Everyone keeps saying all this stuff about, you know, the memes, dying one combo. This has been a thing for Chipp all across Guilty Gear. This isn't just Strive. This has been like this since Guilty Gear X. Because Guilty Gear 1, that character had normal HP. And Guilty Gear X on up, he's had low HP from that point forward. He's had low HP, including this game. But the thing that people have to understand is this character has had, like, the character and the community of people who play the character have had years of dealing with all kinds of shit in this series. So their movement is gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chipp's movement is still amazing in this game. And that's his biggest lifeline, no matter how you look at it. You could take away teleport all you want. His mobility is still the fastest in the game. And as you can see, Ogawa cannot even keep up and react to him. This character can be fairly unreactable, so you have to preemptively strike in a lot of places. Against Chipp players, they'll look at it as, oh, you're being random. But please understand that even I know where you're coming from as an anti-Chipp player. Like, you're just like, I'm so tired of running over me, so I'm just going to press a button and try to stop him. It makes sense, you know, but it has to be calculated. There has to be give and take. You have to be able to assess what's been happening. Sometimes it's hard to assess because it's happening so fast that you're getting snowballed so quickly, so you get overwhelmed, so your brain can't process. So sometimes you just have to just go, you know, and that's how Chipp players can play sometimes, and especially in this matchup. If you leave an opening, it is definitely go time. It is no question. You left a gap in there for me to air dash, I'm gonna air dash. So again, in this situation, I believe the best choice of action for Ogawa was probably to drop Frog. I think Frog would have been smart in this spot, you know. So, but there's the guessing game of P Alpha to catch that off guard. Yeah, of course. But I think that P Alpha it's still slow. And given the situation that occurred right here, Ace, right? Let's see what happened here. He did 2S into P summon. I believe if, like, P Alpha isn't what you think. This is one of the more faster options to utilize for Chipp, is to air dash. Or just run at him. And I mean, this goes both ways, right? Like, alternatively, had Samitto ran, right? So let's highlight the situation for a second. Let's isolate this for a second, right? So had Summit stayed grounded, this would be okay, right? Essentially. But the thing about it is, you don't want to think of it as like a one-to-one option, right? You stay on the ground, this works. You jump, then we opt for this. Nah, I think what the best case scenario was to use Frog, because I believe Frog would have covered 2 birds with 1 stone. So I think in my opinion, Frog would have been a better choice here. I think. I definitely think Frog probably would have been a better choice here. Yeah, I mean, that's the RPS, sure. But I think we want to, in this matchup as this character, you want to try to mitigate RPSing too hard. Like, you want to try to have options that can cover the jump, air dash, because the air dash still has startup, right? And the run necessarily doesn't have startup, but they have the run button. So I think worst case scenario is this, it might have traded with far slash or sweep, because those are the buttons you would hit from that range, right? So let's let's just go back to the scenario, like where everything. Let's take a quick look at where everything started, right? So, okay. All right, so here we are, right? So, here's where everything starts. There's still hits done here, right? So, if we slow it down, mute it, he already pre-buffered into this, see? It'd be one thing if he did the button and it didn't pre-buffer, right? So, this is where I say Frog would have been the better choice, right? Because he did 2S and he pre-buffered into P-Summon. So you might as well at this stage in the game pre-buffer into Slash. Pre-buffer into Frog. Because you have the better hitbox. And remember, Chipp's still in hit stun, right? Like, coming back to it one more time. 1, 2. And you see Zato's arms come up. If we think of this animation as a run, right? This makes sense. Again, going back to it again, this makes sense for this summon. But you want to try to cover this too. So while this is okay, this might just overall be better. You know, I think this is a better choice. Okay, I think the better choice might be Frog. Just so that you can cover that arc. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You don't want the options to be 1-to-1, right? You shouldn't look at it as if I hit 2S, he's gonna run in, so I'm gonna do this. There's no reason. Trust me when I say there's no reason for a Chipp player to run in, because one of the reasons why we jump is because we don't want to take the drill. And in this case, like, even if he did even drill, so like if you think about it, your options here, so I'm gonna just use the arcs to explain this. So we have Frog, I'll use them color coded. You have P summon, right? And hopefully you could see this properly, but we use yellow here. And you have Puddle or Invite Hell, right? So the red is a Frog, this is P summon, and this is drill. Like, these are your options, right? And if you want to isolate what would be good here, while P summon is good, again, these two are better options. You want to eliminate jump, because you saw earlier on Summit got hit by Raw 2S into drill, and it's because he got hit and his hit stun. And drill isn't the fastest startup, but it's fast enough to off of the recovery from the move to stop Chipp from jumping. So we want to make sure that this is overall, like, these two are the better options, no matter how you look at it. And this was pre-buffered into because of the startup animation here. So I would say drill, and, you know, let's see. So I would definitely say Frog, drill. It's perfect. Like, these will cover those two options. And I would say drill gives you neutral. Frog can potentially give you a combo. So you can also isolate this as damn, I wish I'm gonna go get my pen. It's so hard to do this with the mouse, but you will get neutral return, nooch. We'll just say nooch. And then combo poten, can't type, combo potential. Let's just use the typing thing on here. I think it has that. Can I just do that? Oh no, I have to pay for that. Sorry, Epic Pen, I'm not paying for that right now. So yeah. So even if Chipp blocks the Frog, right? Yeah, dude, I would love the touchscreen to do this. But yeah, so even if Chipp blocks the Frog, it's still your turn. Any way it goes, if either of these options are blocked, it's still your turn. You know? It's still your turn. So if we come back here, use this. Still your turn. So these are still, these options make it still your turn. More than likely. So this is like the best case scenario. It's still your turn with all this here. It just depends. So if you want to still be your turn with the drill, you have to set up again, right? Because he's going to block the drill and then try to approach again. So technically speaking, this one, Frog kind of outweighs. Frog, I'll give this a 3-star option. And I'll give this a 2-star option. Only on the strength of the overall return. Because Frog leads the corner push. Not that drill doesn't, but it requires another setup. This is a good scenario for Zato because in this scenario, burst isn't available. Neither is guard cancel. So because these options are not available for Chipp, this I might even give it a 5-star option. I might even give it an extra one. I think this is a 5-star option. Is there any argument for HS? I mean, I think the thing about it is, I think the application of H summon, I think is good for defense, but I think it's where it comes out that can be problematic. I don't think that it would be a poor option. I just think the reason why you would want to go for Frog is so that you can utilize the gauge. I think if you're going for the defense, right? So if we're going, so we have to look at this, right? Let me see if I can use, is black going to work here? Okay. Sorry, this is all color coded all over the place, right? But this is for science. So okay, I'm gonna use orange for this, right? For the gauge. So if you use the armor thing, this is gonna naturally drain the gauge slowly, right? And as it gets hit, it's just gonna go even faster, right? So why would you want to get rid of the gauge? You need to use the gauge to do your thing. So it's better to use the summon, right? So let's say I'm gonna color code them, right? I don't know the numbers. I don't know the exact amount of gauge it uses, but okay, already here, and I'll try to color code this best I can. Hopefully you guys can see it. So we know that this is the P summon, right? That's how much P summon gauge uses. I will assume, I'm gonna use different color coded things, so this makes more sense. Let's say Noboru or Frog takes this much gauge, right? Because he normally gets about 3 or so actions, right? Now at this point we have a few more actions. This is the thing this is the thing that's not being considered, right? So if we come back again and we use green and we use about that much, this means that we have 2 more P options, give or take. So we have to consider that. Now, I can go out on a limb, right? And say, okay, let's look at the K, right? We'll use K. So let's say K takes maybe this much, which is the drills, right? You may or may not have enough to do another action, but maybe you do. I don't know the gauge draining exactly for the options, but if you think about it, like boom, this is if these color coats represent each one, right? So if this is P summon, this is Frog. I should probably use the actual colors because it makes more sense. But either way, this is punch. You know, this is S. This is K. This is P again, right? We have to consider your options and how the eddy gauge is draining. So that's why I said I think Frog would be good because of how much it takes up. And then it would give you Frog KK, Frog PK, Frog KP, Frog P Frog. You know what I'm saying? Or if we use the letters, it could be S, SKS to ensure that he doesn't jump away. You know what I'm saying? So like you get to play a good pressure game, and either way it goes, you have the ability to sneak in a command grab at some point. That's another thing to note. So, and I'm isolating this. I know this match is pretty much done, but I'm isolating this so you can understand that like why, in the mind of a Chipp player, what we're looking to do and the ways you can cover your options. Okay. So I just want you guys to know. I'm willing to take the time out to show you this because I think this is very important to you guys. I think this is super duper important. So there's a lot of drawing here, but I wanna keep this type of thing going. I have a Wacom tablet I can just use. I might even just get a new one just to do this. Because I think like this is really fun. I love doing this. I love analysis. This is the kind of stuff that gets me going. But yeah, let's keep it going and let's continue because I know we've harked on this situation a lot, but I definitely wanted you guys to see it. You know what I mean? I want you guys to see it for what it is, so you understand the options. Having options are important. Understanding what your options are, and remember, like I said, you want to make sure you find ways that are more than just one-to-one to shut down your opponent. You want to try things that can give you, more than one way to shut them down. It shouldn't just be like, okay, this is one-to-one. Now, I'll tell you right now, for Chipp, a lot of it is pretty one-to-one, but you have a character like Zato who can actually, he has a way to cover those bases with, an extension of himself. Not him throwing himself at you, The only non-extension of Chipp's self is like Shuriken and Gamma, and those are risky. Not that Frog or Summoning Eddie is not risky, but, there's just different strokes for each character. So let's keep it going.
Alright, Ogawa saving one match point. Can he offer us a seventh game in this first set of the day? Ogawa in the corner, forced to block, tries to escape the corner. The throw goes to Samitto.
Absolutely, here we go. Oh my goodness, you saw he cancelled it into the air dash last second. And
that's gonna hurt.
This damage
6H.
Positive. Gets the buff. Okay.
Man, Summit is just abusing throws.
He has Samitto, all the meter in the world to work with here to close this one out.
There's a hell of a lot of bars.
There we go, Ogawa. There's a meter.
Right? That corner combo into super, into one hit, but no! The opening hit,
that's gonna do it, Red
That's gonna eat the first
and that's
set
it.
of the day. The first fight card between the specialists. Samitto will win that set 4-2 with that trademark chip, and I know.
Thing that don't change from him is the S summon covering the air options like Noboru did. Yep. Zato, you got to exercise the options. Throws are so strong in this game. Absolutely. Throws, I think... Throws are strong in old Guilty Gear. But this game, just ground throws in general. Like, the thing is, they don't have range. But, like, Chipp is so fast. Like, he's going to be in that spot to throw you regardless. Like, it won't matter. Like, he's going to catch up to you, right? So... what I want to do here really quickly, real fast, is a quick recap of exactly what happened here in this set, right? So, obviously, from a legacy standpoint, Chipp does really well against Zato. He just does. It's just been like this from the dawn of time. You do a bad thing, and then Chipp's in there, and vice versa. If you do a bad thing as Chipp, lots of damage will be taken, and you'll essentially lose neutral and be pressured pretty heavily. It can be polarizing on both sides, but I think there's a big degree of control from Chipp strictly because of how fast he is, and like, I think it's a lot easier for Chipp to punish Zato's mistakes as opposed to the other way around. As I've been mentioning in countless videos and saying this stuff about Chipp for the longest time now in Strive, is like his ability to snowball is very, very high. I would say his snowball potential in this game is probably, if I'm to be honest, Xrd, you can snowball, but like some things require meter. This game, he doesn't really require the bar to kill you as fast. Because his whole goal is to use his basic combos to corner push you, and then once he gets to the corner, it's 2H into records into juggle. And then he breaks the wall, and then it's party time again, and he's got more meter to do stuff now. And 6K Fast RC JD is so quick, it's kind of, you have to guess off that. Like, that's a legit mix-up. Now, granted, the overhead option leads to more damage than the low, because it could just go into 2K 2D or whatever, 2K 2D ratio. And in the corner, it's really good strictly because if you've already put them in the corner and you hit them with certain moves against the wall, like, you'll essentially break the wall with something really basic. So, and that's just due to us not really having a good visual on the wall break mechanic. And, it can get triggered from the tech roll situation, right? Like, when I say it gets triggered, like, if you get tech rolled near the wall, it takes a lot less hits to break the wall from the next hit that you land, basically. Yeah, I had a better way to put it, but yeah. So, you know, if he hits with if he makes you block the 6K and you like, you have to take the second overhead. And if you get hit by that overhead, it's 2S, 2H into juggle. Alternatively, if you don't, then it's 6K, you block the 6K and you stand up looking for JD, and then he does 2K, 2D, Resho, Rope Sai, and then it could be a potential wall situation where you're against the wall, if I recall right. I don't have full release game to check it out again, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. And yeah, I mean, and I've showed you guys before, if you get hit by 6K, it's 200 damage. Like, it's 200 damage. That's how it's going to be. So, you know, and that's just really it from the Chipp side. You know, Chipp has too many ways to, like, snowball this character. And that's the way he works in this game now. On the flip side, Ogawa, I think, played well. And, you know, it's just a struggle match for that character, you know. And he knows how to play it. But I think that right now, he's not... I don't feel like Ogawa's as comfortable with his options right now to play the character at a good potential. It also, you know, for what it's worth, Chipp has been in the early builds of the game, and Summit has been in several exhibitions. You know, he's played from the early arcade exhibitions, etc., with Chipp. And he's had a lot more time with Chipp than Ogawa has with Zato. So there is a little bit of that there too. Despite the legacy there with both characters, it's just one's had more time actually playing their character versus the other. So if you tally up Samitto's time, if Samitto had well over 200 hours, or I wouldn't say 200, maybe 200, between the 1 week and a half beta and the previous beta and all the exhibitions and things he's been in, he's probably clocked in maybe 200, 300 hours, give or take. If you just count all across all the betas, probably somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe more, doubt it, but somewhere in that ballpark, give or take. And in comparison to maybe half of that with Ogawa, you know what I mean? So it's kind of apples and oranges there, you know? So Ogawa got a glow burst and he uses meter to neutral PRC, make it save. Would it make sense? I mean, I gotta catch up with y'all's conversation. But throw loop. I mean, it's not really a throw loop per se with Chipp, because the knockdown from the throw is really extended, so it's not really a throw loop per se. Like, it can lead into a situation. His throw loop comes from his command grab, not normal throw. I agree about the throw loop stuff though. I understand the PRC from Ogawa. What was that? Hard to say. I see what you're saying. But yeah, who knows? Regardless, I don't think it's impossible for Ogawa to get it together. I don't think it's going to be, you know, too hard for Chipp and or Zato players to come together and get their characters down. You guys know me. I'm a big proponent of Chipp in this game. I know there's a lot of people who don't believe in him. And I mean, it's interesting that even afterwards, Summit, you know, they interviewed him and he said, you know, it's still Chipp. And it's kind of sort of been the same thing I was saying previously. Like, it's still Chipp. You know, like, his approach is definitely harder than what it used to be, but it doesn't take away that, like, the essence of the character is still there. Like, you can pull away teleport, whatever. You can pull away find me, okay, whatever. Like I've been saying, the biggest nerf to the character to me is Gamma Blade. Like, if he had old Gamma, I'd be totally fine. I have other things I could say about that, but I won't get into it. I think that this is pretty much a good stopping point. That is this matchup. I think this matchup was really good. You know, obviously playing Chipp, you know, I love to see my character do well. And it's always cool to see, Summit do work. You know, I did talk to him in the previous beta about how I felt about Chipp, and he wasn't sure either. But he looks super comfortable now, as do I. So, you know, it's just a matter of time for Chipp players to feel comfortable. So